Stone Paxton Music and Life. Welcome to my channel. For all those that are not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like, and also make sure you hit that bell to get the notifications for all my latest videos. Stone Paxton Music and Life, you guys, and I am back again with another one. And it's been a minute since I've done, well, you know, I've been doing my lives and stuff, you guys. Do me a favor, if you're coming in, make sure you like, subscribe, share this video, hit that like, the thumbs up when you're coming in, you guys. Make sure all of you that always show me love in super chats to do the same thing, even if I'm not live. I appreciate the love, but I wanted to talk about a subject that has to do with the music industry and something that I am very well versed in, and that is the distribution and what's going on with distribution right now in the digital sector. And is it better to stick with streaming as an artist, or is it better to just go back to the trusty old school CDs and vinyl? Okay, which is something, by the way, that I've never stopped doing. Okay, should we go back to this? I'm seeing this. It's a trending thing going on now with everybody talking about vinyl and CDs, and should an artist do this, and should streaming versus you know, the physical, right? Streaming digital versus the physical and stuff like that. And what I wanted to talk about was this. In this ever-changing industry, we know that back in the day, it was always complicated to make money in the business per se. Like we didn't own the stores as artists. We didn't own the distribution outlets. We did not own the space at which the records were being put into the stores. We didn't own the shelves. There we go. That's a better word for it. We didn't own the shelves, right? So artists never really had a heads up when it came to being able to really control the narrative when it comes to the movement of records and how their records were seen or heard, unless you had a substantial amount of money, like high level amounts of money. With the change of age in the music industry and what happened to it, I was on the front end of digital when it happened. Once again, I tell this story, and I've told it many times before. In 1997, when the Orchard decided to venture into creating and starting digital distribution, they went into business with iTunes in 1999, introducing the first form of digital distribution through phones, henceforth iTunes, right? That was the beginning. In every element in music, when there is a change, there's always going to be a downfall to that change. You're always going to give up something to get something. What did artists give up to get? Artists gave up a lot more control to gain access to be able to be their own powerhouse. Now, what I mean by that, with the digital sector, allowed artists to actually be their own labels. Artists, you know, the digital sector leveled the playing field as an artist and musician. Most artists have not taken full Most artists have not taken full advantage. That's what I meant to say. Advantage of the digital sector. And you got to think about it. This digital sector is relatively still new. Most artists did not really jump on the digital thing until maybe the year 2010, 2011 to 2012. Artists start really jumping on, independent artists as well. They didn't start really jumping on. Digital didn't really start really picking up steam until, you know, people start really paying attention, 2010, 2012, 2013. Before then, nobody was paying attention. Even when it kicked off in 1999 with digital distribution, nobody was paying attention. I remember talking to major artists, major names, and telling them, hey, you guys, Physical stores are going to close down. And people laughed at me. They said, Stone, you always talking about that industry stuff, bro. They almost like I was an industry, the conspiracy, because Stone would always talk about all the major stores closing down. That's what I would say. I said, all the major stores are going to close down. There's not going to be any physical store. Oh, Stone, stop it. It's never going to go out of business. Record stores will never go out. I said, all right. And I would say this to all the major artists that I dealt with, whether in the studio or just picking up the phone, calling them, saying, hey, man, listen, this is what's going to happen. I told everybody the same thing, and nobody paid attention to me. I was on the front end of the digital. You will get people online talk about this stuff some are in music and some are not, but I'm going to show you the similarities in the conversations. I got a point. We're going to drive this home. You'll get people who've been in the business who will talk, and just because you've been in the business doesn't mean you know the business. I want you to understand that. Just because people are a producer doesn't mean they know the business. Just because a person is a writer, it does not mean they know the business. Even some executives don't fully know the business. But if you ran a record company, your own record company, you've had to build it from the ground up, then you know what's up. And you've known what's up since the beginning. I've had my independent label since 1995. I've been in the music industry since the 80s. My first record deal, first management contract, the group we were with, was in the 80s. Way back in the 80s, you guys. But as a businessman, I've ran my own record label since 1994. Before there was digital distribution, you had to have brick and mortar. And the only way you had that brick and mortar was either you had a brick and mortar distribution deal or you were doing consignment, and you were going to have to mail out your CDs to every single state across the U.S. Literally. And then they send you a paperback, and then you send that paperback signed, and when you sell, they will send you a check back. And if it doesn't, everything was on what you call a 30-day cap. Now, if those that know this language I'm speaking, they know that, all right, Stone, know what's up. It was all on a 30-day cap. But we'll get people online that want you to believe, because they have followers and subscribers, that what they're saying is factual information when they've never ran their own label. When they've never ran their own label. Most of the people that will share information with you will be people that's never ran their own record labels. They've never booked their own tours for their artists. That's why I say when I speak to you, I'm only speaking from that experience part. I'm not on here just talking to you. I'm speaking to you. That's the problem with YouTube. You'll have 100 million people trying to talk about the same thing, and most of them don't even have the experience to talk about it. You'll have people who are beginning producers trying to talk about production and don't even know. Everything they learned about production was from YouTube. YouTube is their new teacher, and there's nothing wrong with that. How are you going to teach me when you learned on YouTube? Could you teach somebody after learning? Of course. Because eventually you kind of got to come into your own of who you are. And yes, you can take those situations and turn them into teachable moments of what you've learned. But it's something different about being in the trenches and having to do this from scratch. There's something different about being the person who has had to go through that in real life versus me just telling you, versus me getting all the tea online and then coming back spitting it like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this how you do. This the music industry business, y'all. This how you do. Because, there's people that will go online and study other people's conversations and don't know nothing about this business and get on here and spit it. There's people that have had hit records, but because they had hit records, you believe that they know the business. Doesn't mean they know the business. You've had people that know the business that are not hit producers. But they'll try to talk about production when they know the business side but don't know the production side. Oh, yeah, you get those people. You'll swear because they're an executive. They know about producers and they've never produced a record, but they'll try to have a conversation as a producer when they've never even done it. So it's kind of like, there's those people who have been in the trenches who's had to do everything, not because they wanted to, but because they were thrown in that position, and unfortunately, they had to learn fast. So they had to be an A&R. They had to run their own label. They had to be the producer, the writer, the booking agent. So I want you to understand, you guys, artists, producers, writers, arrangers, record labels, people that are inspiring to be in this game, and you're seeing this crazy shit that's going on. We're already being robbed as artists. We know that. There is no reason these streaming companies should ever be taking this much money from us. You see this thing with Spotify, these new terms. A lot of people don't understand those terms are actually applied to the users, not the artists. So you probably want to go read the terms about the artists. People on here spitting all that stuff. You got to know what you're reading. My minor was law. You got to know what you're reading. You got to read the proper terms. Don't go reading the terms for the customers, but go read those terms that apply to the recording artist, and it will say recording artist. That's how you know you're reading the right terms. Go look up the ones for the recording artist and musicians. But let's say everything that's said about Spotify and them being able to take your music and use AI to rearrange and create derivative versions of your song, and they own it, and you waive the rights after you by you putting your music out. Let's say all this was real. Let's say everything you just saw was applied to artists, which I'm telling you, all that stuff is definitely not speaking to the artist. And I'm telling you, just pay attention. That agreement that people are talking about on TikTok, that's not for artists. That's for the users who take stuff and make up these different versions of compilations on their own for their playlist. That's for the users who have subscriptions to Spotify. Go look up the artist agreements, the artist terms, where it says recording, because it's going to say recording artist. You can't believe everything you see, or you got to learn what you're learn about what you're reading. You have to learn about what you read. Do you honestly think Spotify would jeopardize themselves by putting a clause in there telling artists, because this won't just apply to independent artists, you guys. This will apply to major artists. That's what y'all ain't understand. You really think, I see people say, I took my catalog off of Spotify. Because y'all better try to learn how to read and know what you're reading. You're going to be in this business, don't be a dummy. If you're going to be in this business, know what you are actually reading. Show me where it says recording artist. You know, it's easy for people to just magically see something and assume. Do you honestly think Spotify would play themselves that way? Or any streaming service? That would be the death of Spotify. If Spotify was to really say, yeah, we going to take your music and guess what? We're going to do derivative versions of your music and we're going to own it. We're going to own the derivative versions of everything we create from your music. And ain't nothing you can do. Do you really believe that they would take that stance against artists and go, yeah, that's it. We already taking from you. We already getting most of your money. And you at 0.0 this. We're going to move in on the AI technology. And then we're going to just really, really jack you up by taking your music and create derivative versions of it, throwing your name on it. Ain't nothing you can do. You know what I'm saying? They're not stupid, y'all. Y'all just don't get it. They're not stupid. That play could possibly put them out of business if that was them saying this is for artists. Now, what we need to do is look at the artist agreement. I suggest those of you go look it up. Go look up the agreement that's for recording artists. Not just the user agreement terms, not just for the people that are subscribing and that pay monthly and that put together, you know, these playlists. Not just them, because that's the one you're reading is for users, for the people that subscribe to Spotify. When you don't know, you know, there's a saying in the Bible, it says, you'll suffer for the lack of knowledge. What I notice about the internet is even conversations, people will hear a little bit of something on TikTok and they'll make up a lie. There was a story about somebody made up about a truck driver named Eric Darnell. And they swore to God, this woman, that this man took a trip through from Arizona to Arkansas, ended up getting out his truck, taking his phone, leaving this, leaving that, disappeared, and made up a whole lie with his picture on it. Now, dig this. I looked at the story. I think somebody shared it with me. And I was like, So I initially talked about it, which I really should have done my research. I talked about it because it looked real. It looked real because people assume everything on TikTok is real. In finding out that it wasn't real, I started to feel weird about it. Sorry, you guys. I started to go, you know what? This just seems like something's not right. It's not making any sense. And the fact that the media wasn't covering it really was red flags for me. I said, the media, there's not even one thing in the media about this. Oh, they used that too. They played on that too. So I reached out. I looked up and saw the face of this guy. I reached out and found this actual Eric Darnell guy. And as I found him, I'm seeing him talk about this story on his page. And he's saying, my sister reached out to the girl and told her to take this down. I am not missing. I am not a truck driver. I was never a truck driver. I am an educator out of the DMV area. This guy is an influencer, educator, very popular. Everybody knows him. Sharp. Now, when I contacted him, he says, sir, I'm on my vacation and I can't even enjoy my vacation because somebody making a lie up. And we asked the girl on TikTok to take it down. She wouldn't. It wasn't until I did my video on TikTok and on YouTube, is when she took hers down. Wasn't until then. And still now I get people coming in saying, oh, that's not real. They found his body. They didn't find shit. But I'm just showing you how people can take a little bit of something because it's all about them trying to make some quick money online. And then they want to run with the narrative of shit they don't even know. They'll just take the story and then splice it up and then be like, all right, here it is. This is the real story. This is the music industry also. Everybody wants to be important in the music industry. Even the motherfuckers ain't never done a goddamn thing in this business. They will get on this YouTube and try to make you believe they know what the fuck they talking about. And they've never sat in a room with any executives. I'm just telling you some shit. Something that I get so super annoyed about. But because you YouTubers that watch channels, you just want to believe because there's a plaque on somebody's wall that everything they're saying is the truth. But what you don't know is the way the music industry works, there's separate departments. And most people don't know all of the business unless they've had to do it. What I'm telling you is I've had to do every job that you would do at a label. I was an A&R. I handled publishing. I handled marketing, promotions, distribution, booking, artist tours, getting them shows, recording, arranging, writing, and producing. I did every job that a label could do, and I still do. I've done every job that people at record labels do. I was 5 or 6 different people for many years and still am. But I just don't have all the artists I used to have. I booked the tours. I get the tour bus. I took my artists out on tour. Anybody that knows me will tell you, yeah, Stone did all that. So you'll get people on YouTube, and because you feel like they're a producer, that they know everything about the music industry, you don't imagine how many industry people that come here to my house that don't know the business, that come to meet with me, that come to my studio, that come to meet with me because they don't know the business. But you just think because they're in the business, it means they know the business. They don't. I'm trying to tell y'all, if you're going to listen to people, listen to the ones that have been in the trenches, not just in the studio. Listen to the ones that actually know the business side of it too, that have owned the labels. You have to trust the people that have been in the trenches. Yeah, there's a reason for people consulting with people. There's a reason people hire the right people to help them with marketing their records or promoting because they know that these people that they have hired have that experience. There's a reason why artists hire experienced producers. There's a reason why artists hire experienced writers because you're hiring them to trust that they're going to guide you with their knowledge and what they've already had to deal with in that kind of business. Understand what I'm saying? There's too many people online, I'm sorry, sharing information just to be sharing it because they feel they have a platform. And, they're not really about wanting to really necessarily help an artist. It's about keeping the numbers up. It's about making you feel like they know what the fuck they talking about. So now, with that said, what is my opinion of this streaming thing versus should artists go back to the good old days, which is right here? Should we go back to the good old days, you guys? I mean, I still do it. Every time I drop an album, my records are in Japan. My records are in Spain, London, Amsterdam. They're all over the world. They go to the record store and they buy this vinyl and these CDs in the actual record store still to this day. Is there a market for physical CDs and or vinyl? It absolutely is. But I will tell you, don't expect to press vinyl and think it's just going to sell like that. Should artists go back to the days of pressing CDs? If you're asking me, I would say yes. Why not? But if you got a fan base, it makes it even better. But I want to tell you, streaming has made it much easier to market and promote yourself. My problem with streaming as an artist, as a executive, and as an artist is the money they should be paying us artists or you artists or us in general, we are not seeing and we're not getting. We deserve to be paid just as much as we were paid when we were signed to major labels. Now, granted, artists weren't seeing a whole lot of money then, but they definitely were not seeing 0.0 shit. People's getting 10 cent, 25 cent, right? And nowadays, if you own your physical CD, you can get your whole $9.99 or your whole $10 if you're directly marketing to your clients, your customers, your fan base. Maybe it is good. It's a good thing that this is kind of like sort of backfiring on technology and us being so excited to be able to have access to music. Maybe I shouldn't say it's a good thing because, I mean, it affects me also. But what I mean by that is more of a good thing to wake artists up and labels up to work harder. You see, we don't need a major label anymore, and you've never really needed a major label. People just didn't know that. People just didn't know that. We were so used to being held by the hand and guided by major labels that we started to feel like the only way you're going to be successful is if you had a major label record deal. It was never really supposed to be that way. That just became the common thing. It was always made for a person to set up their own company and run their own businesses. We just got lazy as people. I'm talking about back in its inception. People just got lazy and they felt like they couldn't do it. And it just took one person to say, I'm going to go start this business, get a loan from the bank, and become my own record label and sign a whole bunch of acts and become this huge company. And now modern day, we see these huge companies now, right? They started off as small companies. Every company has. And that same ability that they had to do that, you have that same ability as an artist, as a musician, as a businessman. But if you don't believe in yourself enough to go make that, if I can't get you to promote if you're not even promoting your digital stuff on your page, you should not even be having a conversation about physical records. Let me just be honest with you. I know you probably don't want to hear this, If you can't even promote your own music, I see artists that will put out music. They be talking about girls and basketball and football and who won, what game, what team won, who's up for this, who's up for that. Or they're putting their problems on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. And they're artists. And I never see them promoting their artistry. I see them promoting everything except for who they say they are. If you're an artist, you promote you're an artist. If you're a producer, you promote your producer. If you're all of the above, you promote all of the above. Do we really think these artists are going to get out here and really bust their asses for this? Do you know how hard it is to sell a freaking CD? If you've never had to do it, let me just give you the ups on it. When you have 1,000 CDs in the box, and before you get them, all you think in your mind, oh, I'm going to go through these. These are going to sell fast. People going to buy my CD. I want you to here's the pros and cons. Digital, fast, no overhead costs, no warehousing costs. It's immediately there. It's available worldwide. Downfall, you got to promote. Downfall, you have to promote. Downfall, you have to promote. Downfall, you have to market. It's not really a downfall. It's part of it. You got to market, got to promote. Constantly, consistently. Because if you know how many releases come out a day, well, you're definitely going to get left in the smoke for sure, because you're going to get left in the bunch of releases that are coming out. And what makes your release and my release anything important to pay attention to, unless you are marketing it. So please understand, for those of you that might be sitting back saying, I'm going to go press up vinyl, man. I'm going to go press up me some CDs, man. Stone? I'm pressing my CDs up, Stone. All right, cool. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, Stone. Okay, cool. Who you going to sell them to? You see, if you can't sell, this conversation about physical versus digital is really for those artists that are out here working. Let's make that clear. That conversation is for the working artists who are pushing, not for the faint at heart, not for the faint at heart, not for the ones that just be like, yeah, I want to be an artist. We working on this same single. I've been in the studio for a year working on the same damn song. But I feel like now, because I saw on TikTok, or, somebody pressed vinyl, I'm going to get vinyl too. Because you got a lot of artists just pressing vinyl. They're pressing it and don't have nobody to sell it to. You got to understand, vinyl is a niche market. There are collectors. They're called the connoisseurs. The connoisseurs are the ones that are buying the vinyl. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? You see, your everyday person is not buying the vinyl. It's ruled, and it's really, really ruled by the overseas market, Japan and Europe. Those are the ones that are buying it. But they just not buying no bullshit, though. Don't think they just gonna buy every American artist vinyl. You gotta put in the motherfucking work. Just like you would if you were putting out a streaming release. So please, don't think that everybody can just run and start pressing up CDs and vinyl. I promise you, I'm gonna tell you. Press up 1,000 CDs, and I'll make a bet that you'll be stuck with that box for at least 6 months to a year, and sometimes longer. And all my homeboys and all my OGs that's watching this that know me and that's been around this game will tell you the same thing I'm telling you. Oh, it's not easy to get off no CDs. You think digital is hard? When really, to us, digital is easy. Y'all be saying, oh, man, I ain't sold, I ain't getting no streams, ain't nobody paying attention to my music. Imagine having a physical CD, and you can only do a few things. That is, stand out on the corner somewhere, sell it, travel across the country, sell it out of your trunk, like Master P and how we all used to do back in the day. That's what we used to do. That's what everybody did. Or try to get consignment, where there's no more physical record stores in the U.S., and there's a very few, and those are like mom and pops. They're not taking everything. They're not that big. And they want to know you got a fan base before they put it on consignment in that city now anyway. They're not about to take up their little space they have. So know this, artists. Oh, you can press the CD and the vinyl, but you better have somebody to sell that shit to. You better have your family and friends interested in buying it. first. Here's the real reality. People are followers. The herd mentality shit is real. I never see nobody just making moves. Like, it's funny. Go back and look at my videos, how I talk about vinyl, how long I've never stopped doing vinyl. From the 90s, 80s up to now, excuse me. I never stopped doing vinyl. For my label, for my artists, I never stopped doing CDs or vinyl. For my artists and my label, I never stopped. When people stopped doing vinyl, yes, did I go over into the digital sector? Absolutely. I took advantage of all the elements of marketing records. But I never stopped doing vinyl. That's why people see me with vinyl. But now I'm starting to see people pop up on vinyl, CDs. That's because there's a secondary market for it now overseas. But they're not taking everybody's vinyl and CD. They will say, who are you? Okay, you're not Cardi B, or you're not this person who got a lot of fans. If we take your vinyl, we're going to be stuck with it. You're not getting radio play here in Japan and overseas. If you press a vinyl, you want us to buy it, we don't know who you are, and we don't want to be stuck with your shit. That's the mentality of how this really works. Perfect what you have. Is there a lot of money in streaming? Yes. Are artists making the money they should? No. We already know that. But if you can't make no motherfucking sale in streaming, what the fuck makes you think you're going to be able to sell 1,000 of these motherfuckers here? What makes you think you're going to be able to sell 1,000 of these records when you can't even sell 1,000 streams? You can't even get 1,000 streams on your music on Spotify, but you feel like you can get out in the streets and sell 1,000. That's why you got to have respect for them dudes that be on the street hustling their music, right? That shit started in our day, back in my day. You see? So when I see a cat on the street selling a burnt, I don't like the fact that it's not packaged like this real nice. And I tell cats, look, bro, if you're going to be out here selling, package that shit right. You want me to spend my $5 or $10? I don't want to buy no CDR. But out of love, I would just give them a donation. And why do I do that? Because they are standing on that corner in that hot ass sun going, hey, my man, $5, support me. And even if it's garbage, I still support them. I might not pay the whole 5 or 10, but I give them a couple dollars saying, hey man, listen, you out here, man, in the hot sun, bro. Let me support. I might not even buy it. So no, just keep the CD, man. Give it to somebody else. Or sometimes I'll take it and be completely disappointed. But just know, you're going to be out selling this because there's no stores that are going to put this in there. You better have a fan base to push this shit. You better have a fan base that's going to purchase it, or you are stuck with this product. I'm just giving you the game. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just giving you the game. That's all. I mean, y'all think y'all know? I've ran a label since 1994. I had to call record stores across the country to get the physical CDs in there. When digital happened, I was happy. I said, I don't have to mail these CDs out no more, y'all. The game has changed. I was at the beginning when it started, when digital distribution was on the phones. When it started, I was there at the front end. I was excited. I said, this is the future. Well, little did I know the money that these streaming companies were going to take from us. So we all learn now. But what worked for me is I never stopped doing the physical. I balanced it out. But you got people now that's never done physical. You got this generation don't know shit about physical. And they're wanting to jump into this physical arena and don't even know nothing about it and how it works. I say perfect the digital side of it. Understand the digital side of it a lot better before you just jump into pressing up CDs, because your ass going to be stuck with them. Just remember this video. Share this video with your friends who want to press up CDs. Your ass will have to take to the streets, and you're going to have to spend. If you ain't the kind of person that like to stand on corners, sit in your car all day, pretty much panhandling your CD, you ain't going to be too happy with that. If you're a lazy artist, it ain't going to work for you. If you're an artist that get up at 2 o'clock in the daytime, it ain't going to happen for you. If you're an artist that thinks putting more money into the new Yeezys and Nikes instead of yourself, it ain't going to happen for you. This shit takes real dedication. Streaming versus analog, streaming versus vinyl and CDs, I'll take both. Because I'll fill in the blanks where that one is not filling in the blanks. These days, you need both. You need both. Even though we're not getting paid what we need to be paid, you still need both to really operate. Do you need the majors? You don't need the majors, but you need that digital part of it. Even if you said you're going to take Spotify out of it, you still need your own website where you can direct your fans to it. And are you going to do that? You say, I don't want Spotify no more. Say, okay, cool. Build your website. You got to maintain it. You got a proper server that's hosting your website. And you got to get fans to come to your website like they were coming to Spotify. I want to show you what you're going to be dealing with if you say, I'm going to take all my music down from Spotify because you don't understand, the terms of engagement with Spotify. You're misunderstanding how it works. And let's say, for all those that have taken the music down, now you got to get your fans to feel like you got to come to my site. And if they're like, I don't even know you, man. Come to your site for who are you? Hey, man, I'm an artist. Okay. I see 200 artists on TikTok all the time. Yeah, come to my site, man. For what? I don't trust my credit card on your site. I don't know who you are. I don't trust buying from your site because I don't know who you are. That's what you get when people feel like they don't know you. So now you go from taking all your music off Spotify to saying you're going to start a website because you can do it yourself. You can actually direct people to you. But they have to trust you. And in order to trust you, you got to build up a relationship. And you got to give people a reason why they should follow you and why they should even buy from you. And if they haven't bought, streamed, or downloaded any of your records, how in the fuck are you going to get them to support you on the physical CD side? Once again, I'm going to say, how are you going to get them to support you on the physical CD and vinyl side? How do I get a person to buy this? How do I say, hey, you guys, I need you to buy this? Huh? How do I convince them to buy this? How do I convince them to buy this when they've never even streamed my music? I want you to look inside the matrix and understand what I'm saying. It's a lot of work we got to do, y'all. I say we because I'm here to give you the knowledge and help you. Make it a little bit easier for you. I already put in the work for years, and I'm still putting in the work. And guys like me are still putting in the work. But y'all don't listen. Y'all don't listen. You don't want to consult with the people that can help you. You rather go spend your money on some bullshit. You don't want to consult with the people that can really help you. You want to go spend your money on some bullshit. But the people that have done it, they're saying, hey, I'm here. Just consult with me. I'm not going to give it to you for free because you think you know. But if you're in the same position you were 5 years ago as an artist, it's time to rethink your career. It's time to rethink your moves. If you are in the same position and with no results for the last 5 years, every artist I'm talking to you, independent or even major, if you're in the same position you were 5 years ago and you haven't seen a change in your sales increase, nothing changed in your movement as an artist, it's time to rethink your moves. Streaming versus analog. What should you do? Combine both. But know that if you press the physical, you better be able to sell records. Because if you're not selling them with streaming, you're not going to fucking sell with physical. I'm sorry, y'all. I said it. And I know you're probably not going to like it. I'd rather be honest with you and show you how it needs to be done than to lie to you and tell you it's any other way. There's no other way about it. If you ain't selling on streaming, I will fucking guarantee you are not going to move no physical records. Because there ain't nobody paying attention to you in streaming. They're not going to be interested in buying your physical. So don't go press up a whole bunch of physical because you see Stone Pax and Cardi B or Jazzy Jeff doing it. Or you see somebody on YouTube doing it. They don't even understand why they fucking doing it. They didn't come from that time. And that's the whole thing. It pisses me off to see people fucking with shit they don't even know. They just pressing you off. I'm like, yo, buy my vinyl. Buy it for fucking what? Why am I buying your vinyl? For what? What have you done in the music industry that warrants me to go out and just fucking bust my pocketbook out and buy your vinyl when you haven't even made a mark independently in your local town? But you think because you on YouTube and people paying attention to you that they should buy your, hey, y'all buy my vinyl, y'all buy my vinyl. They like, well, shit, I ain't even bought that Ninja's streaming. Why am I going to go buy his vinyl? That's how people think. They ain't going to tell you, but they going to think, man, I don't even buy that Ninja's streaming. Why am I going to go buy that Ninja's vinyl? Wake up, y'all. Instead of acting like you know, please learn. That's all I'm saying. Instead of acting like you know, get with the people that know this shit for real. Get with the people that have been in the trenches, that have done this, that's been doing this. Not the people that are on YouTube pretending like they do it. There is a difference. It's okay to tell a person, show me your track record. Show me the records that you put out as an independent label back in the day. Can you show me? If you're going to spend money with people that you feel like are lying to you, they either have to have a track record so that you don't have to question them in what they say, though. I'm not just talking about having hits. There's a lot of people have hits, but if they start talking business to you, like what you should do, like running a record label and all that. If they ain't never ran a record label, you shouldn't even be fucking listening to them because they don't know. And they're going to guide you the wrong direction because they don't even know because they've never ran one. If you're listening to producers that ain't never produced no record and work with nobody and had nothing out, even on a regional level that's done something, why the fuck you listening to them? It's the blind leading the blind. I see so many YouTube channels that do that. And they, and so, the music industry, and they ain't never broke no motherfucking record in their life. They've never had records in the store. But now they become a professional music industry connoisseur, and they're on there. Y'all better be smart, man. Listen to the cats that have been in the trenches that know, that have done it. Streaming versus analog. There it is. You need both. But be careful. If you're not doing well on the streaming side, you're not going to fucking do well on the physical side. I said it, and I know you don't like it, but I don't care. The truth is the truth. If you ever want to get better in anything you're doing, you got to first start with the truth. We got to know where we are in order to know where we need to get. If you want to get far in the music industry, understand where you're at so that you can get to where you need to go. Stone Paxton Music and Life, Stone Paxton MPC Connoisseur. Listen, there it is, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Streaming versus analog. That is my analogy of it. And if you need to know more and you want to consult with me on it, listen, I've broken records. I built a record label from scratch all the way up. I've been signed to majors. I know the game and how it really works. And I'm not just on here capping. You need to consult with the people that know. There's a lot of us on here that know this business for real. Consult with the ones that know. Stop going to people that can't guide you in the right direction. Stop doing that because you're only getting further behind. You're not getting closer to your goal. And you want to get, the name of the game is get closer to your goal. Stone Paxton Music and Life. Make sure you like, subscribe. Y'all don't forget the love and the super chats, man. To my regulars, I appreciate you. I love you guys. Peace and love. And I'm out, and I will catch you on that next video. Yes.